This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. The content here should not be taken as medical advice. Patients in need of medical care should consult their healthcare professional for any medical questions. Views and opinions expressed in the podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we are sharing is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors.
Okay. All right, let's start. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jinky from Sophie, and here we have Dr. Julius Ligo. He is the Chief of Clinical Services of Holy Child and Suleiman University Medical Center, as well as he is part of Suleiman University Medical Center's COVID Knowledge Base Management Advisory Board. Dr. Ligo, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, my pleasure and privilege. Thank you, Chloe, for the invitation.
Yeah, she would be glad to hear that you are here today.
Yeah.
Right, so Dr. Ligo, I understand that you wanted to share with us some information about COVID-19, the new Delta variant.
Okay, so I'm honored and privileged actually to be invited as a sort of resource speaker about COVID-19 vaccination. There has been a lot of hesitancy to get vaccinated, and it's understandable considering the circumstances we are in right now and the brouhaha about the Vaccinated vaccine just a few years ago. So I would like to introduce to you about the general principles of vaccination, why we ought to get vaccinated. So I will start with talking about the immune response after an infection, particularly a viral infection which we have, which is COVID-19. So our body actually has two types of immunity, the innate immunity and the adaptive immunity. The innate immunity is the general immediate response to any infection, the physical barrier of the skin, our nasal mucosa. These are natural barriers or immunity against infection. So it's immediate, but it is also responsible for any kind of infection that we might get exposed to. The second type of immunity is the adaptive immunity, and this is the one that is more specific to a particular type of infection, and it's usually mediated by two types of immune response. Okay, we have the cellular response mediated by your T cells, the T lymphocytes, and the antibody response, the B cells, which are commonly your IgGM and your IgG antibodies. And the body usually starts producing this defense against a particular infection 6 to 8 days after being exposed to that infection. So as you can see from the diagram below, even before the onset of symptoms, so we have this incubation period, your body already starts defending itself, okay, against the infection. That's why we also don't get infection every day, even if you are exposed to different microorganisms in the environment, because that's how our bodies are designed to defend itself, okay? Now, this is the response when we are being immunized, okay? So when the adaptive immune cells, now we are talking about your B cells and your T cells, encounter the same virus again, so they respond rapidly, okay? They recruit armies of antibodies and T lymphocytes so that the infection cannot even propagate in the body, okay? So this particular type of immunity, which is the adaptive immunity, is the one that is being utilized by vaccination, okay? And in fact, vaccines use this immune memory to protect us from infection. And when our body already has memorized a particular virus or a particular antigen, maybe from a prior infection or from a prior vaccination, a person cannot get the disease or infection. So from this graph, you can see the the introduction of the virus in the body. Okay, so if you are immunized, even before you start to have symptoms, your body already starts producing antibodies and recruiting myriads of T lymphocytes, which in contact with the invading organism, they can immediately kill the virus and does not produce a disease. So this is the immune response induced with vaccination, where vaccines. Vaccines have been with us for years, and they can safely deliver an immunogen. Okay, immunogen is usually typically an antigen able to elicit an immune response. Okay, so in COVID-19, it's usually the spike proteins. Okay, because these are the ones that are responsible for opening the lock. If we talk about it in entering the particularly our respiratory tract. Okay, so vaccines safely deliver the immunogen to the immune system in order to train it to recognize, so that your T lymphocytes can produce antibodies and T cells. Okay, so this is particularly mediated by CD4 helper T cells, and these CD4 helper T cells stimulate your antibodies and your CD8 cytotoxic cells. So in this diagram, so like any traditional vaccine, so it activates your adaptive immunity, and the body now is able to recognize the virus because it's already memorized in the system. So it produces antibodies and also produce T cells, which can effectively prevent virus replication and disease progression. So immunogens in COVID-19 vaccines are being used differently by different pharmaceutical companies. And we talk about immunogen, this is a specific type of antigen that is able to elicit your adaptive immune response. And the choice of immunogen for vaccine impacts what type of immune response is induced, as well as the development time of the vaccine from concept to distribution, production time, cost, and access. Okay. Now, these are the different immunogens being used by the different pharmaceutical companies and which are available throughout the world. So Sinovac and Sinopharm particularly, this is produced by China, uses an inactivated whole virus. Okay, the whole coronavirus is inactivated by a particular substance, and this is the one that is being introduced during the vaccination. Your Novavax, still not available in the Philippines, uses a viral subunit. Your AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson uses a viral vector, while your Pfizer and Moderna uses your messenger RNA. Okay, so these are the different advantages and disadvantages of these different types of immunogens marketed by the different pharmaceuticals. So we start with Sinopharm and Sinovac. So it's inactivated virus. It's a dead virus. So it doesn't elicit a COVID-19 infection because it cannot replicate. And what it does is that because of the presence of the attenuated virus or a dead virus, it induces a strong antibody response. Okay, and the disadvantage of this particular Sinovac or Sinopharm vaccine is that it requires large quantities of virus to be produced in the vaccine, but there's really no problem because we have so much COVID-19 viruses in the laboratory. Okay, and then we have even fully genetically sequenced the whole genetic component of the virus, so it's easily can be cultured, okay, in the laboratory. So your influenza, your rabies, your polio, and your hepatitis A types of vaccines uses this technology using an inactivated virus. So for example, your rabies vaccine uses an inactivated rabies vaccine, rabies virus. Okay, Your polio vaccine uses an inactivated poliovirus. Okay. Your viral subunit, okay, just uses a particular protein from the virus, and this will already serve as an immunogen, and again also stimulates the body to produce antibodies. Okay, so this is the technology being used by your influenza or your common flu vaccine. Your viral vector, okay, used by your AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, uses a viral pathogen, okay, and it is being carried by another type of virus. Okay, I will explain these types of vaccines later in the following slides. And this is also the technology being used by the Ebola vaccine. Your nucleic acid, your RNA vaccine is relatively new. This is a new technology and uses an RNA, okay, to induce the body to produce the COVID-19 antigen so that your body will also produce antibody against this antigen. Now, the problem with Pfizer and Moderna vaccines is that they need a very cold storage, okay, minus 70 degrees. That's very cold. We don't even have this technology in the Philippines. So there's problem of distribution and transport. But I don't know how they did it, but we're able to secure Pfizer vaccines, okay? So this is a relatively new technology, and this is only used by the present COVID-19 vaccination. So we just go into a little bit in detail about the different vaccines that we had. So this is a Sinovac or Cyanoform vaccine, okay? So it's a whole inactivated virus. All components of the virus are present. Spike proteins, it's a cell membrane, all the RNAs are present. So when it is being vaccinated or introduced or inoculated in the body, the inactivated virus is ingested by the antigen presenting cell in your arm, okay? And this one will now trigger the production of your adaptive immunity, okay? It will induce the production of antibodies. And this is the one that protects us from infection. So I had a Sinovac vaccination, okay, 2 doses. And I also had myself checked for antibodies 1 month after my second dose. So my antibodies was about 600 AU. And the positive antibody response is only about 50. And mine at that time was 600. So I found that quite effective as far as inducing my body to produce antibodies, okay? So that's just how Sinovac or Sinopharm works. Your Novavax, which is produced by an American company, but produced in India, uses viral subunit vaccines, okay? So your viral subunit vaccines be composed of your antigens, your spike proteins with adjuvants. And usually, this is also combined with a recombinant expression system made in the cell without using the virus. So when this is also being injected into your arm, again, your antigen presenting cell takes it, and the body now is able to recognize it and again also produce antibodies, especially your IgG or your IgM antibodies. Now, the one that is being used by AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson uses viral vector vaccines. And for this particular vaccines, they use adenovirus, okay? Adenovirus, which is also dead, is being injected the COVID-19 antigen. So it just uses the adenovirus as a carrier of the antigen of the COVID, okay, virus. And again, once it's injected, the viral vector replicates in the body. And again, this also stimulates production of your antibodies, okay? What about Pfizer and Moderna? So this is the newer technology. So they just use a messenger RNA, okay? that is carries the command to produce spike proteins. Okay, so this is the messenger RNA. Once it is injected, okay, it goes to the cells in your arm, and this messenger RNA dictates your cells to produce spike proteins. Okay, so your own body produces spike proteins of COVID-19, and when it does, it can easily again be recognized by your antibodies and your T helper cells, so that they begin production, so that the infection can be stopped. So basically, this is how vaccination works. Okay, it induces your adaptive immunity, so that once you're exposed to the real COVID-19 virus, your body will be ready to defend itself. Compared with an unvaccinated person, because COVID-19 is a relatively new virus. That's why last year it was still termed as new coronavirus, because a new virus, the body does not recognize it at once. So that's why there was time to, we became a pandemic, because the virus was able to freely replicate itself in the body, because our own immune system did not recognize COVID-19 because it was new. Okay, so that's the very essence of vaccination. You are given a tiny bit of the COVID-19, and this stimulates production of antibodies and memory cells. So your body memorizes the COVID-19 virus, so that once you are exposed to a real COVID-19 infection, your body will be ready to defend itself. Okay. So most COVID-19 vaccines are designed for 2 doses, sometimes 3 or 4 weeks in in gap. So 2-dose vaccination works by mimicking natural immunity. The first one is the first exposure, and the second one is the real thing. Okay, that's why we need 2 doses of most of the vaccines. Okay, so a larger time interval between the first and second dose may induce a stronger immune response compared to a short interval. That's why AstraZeneca, I think, takes about almost 2 to 3 months interval, so that you may have a better, stronger immune response. So these are the different efficacies of the COVID-19 vaccines. This was based on several studies, and you can see this is the very reason why most Filipinos lined up for Pfizer vaccines, because of this so-called 95% efficacy. Okay, Johnson & Johnson, which is 1 dose, has a 66.9% efficacy. It doesn't really mean, however, that because Johnson & Johnson has 66.9 efficacy, it's not effective. Okay, and the manufacturer of Johnson & Johnson qualified this, because when they had a study about the efficacy of this particular vaccine in South Africa, for example, where the variants were significant, and it brought down the efficacy of Johnson & Johnson. Okay, but in the United States, in South America, Johnson & Johnson's efficacy was very high. So it just skewed. Okay, it just pulled down the efficacy because of the virus present in South Africa when the trials for Johnson & Johnson vaccine was conducted. Okay, Cyanoform has a 79% efficacy, and a vaccine is good if the efficacy reaches 50%. So that means it is able to protect 50% of the population. So again, we'll just talk about a little bit of efficacy. So what efficacy really means. This is a degree to which a vaccine prevents disease under ideal and controlled circumstances. Okay, so that means when the trials for the vaccines were conducted, let's say 100 people were vaccinated, and then another 100 people only received placebo. So a 90% efficacy means for those who were vaccinated with COVID-19 vaccine, only 10 people out of the 100 developed the disease. So it was able to protect 90%. Okay, that's how efficacy is labeled. It's different from what we call effectivity. Okay, the vaccine may be efficacious, but it may not be effective. Okay, but all the vaccines that we have are effective. Okay, in preventing COVID-19, in preventing severe disease, in preventing hospitalization. So there really is no argument as far as which vaccine is better and which vaccine is best. They all have the same effectivity as far as preventing COVID-19 disease and preventing severe COVID and improving survival or decreasing mortality rates. Okay. So what do we expect after COVID-19 vaccination? This is one of the reasons why people are very hesitant to get a vaccine is because of the side effects. Okay. But the side effects are very, very mild. It's usually because just of pain, redness and swelling. And I felt this after I had my vaccination. Tiredness. It's as if I just wanted to lie down and sleep maybe a few hours after I get my vaccine. But the following day, I was okay. There are a lot of, I don't know, the social media is so powerful. There are a lot of, like you become zombie, you become magnetic. I just don't know how these side effects, so-called side effects, came about. Okay, so I can assure that the side effects are very mild. Happens only when you're the first 24 hours. Okay, so these are the helpful tips. And then when you go to a vaccination center, don't worry about the side effects because that particular venue is equipped in dealing with emergencies. And what are these emergencies? One of the most common is, well, no, not what are the most common, but an expected reaction, an anaphylactic reaction, okay, is expected to those who are really, really allergic to the vaccine. And the venue is prepared to handle those possible complications. Now, there was a talk about AstraZeneca, about 8 patients who had blood clots. And that was really an entirely true report. It was verified. One even died after AstraZeneca vaccination, but 8 of these complications of people developing clots out of 1 million vaccinated people. So that is about 0.008% complication rate. So again, the benefits of getting yourself vaccinated is still much, much higher, okay, compared of looking for the possible complications, which may not even take place. So the government is already vaccinating A3 and A4. So I think under your qualification, A4, this is the economic frontliners. So those with, you may have some families under A3, priority groups. These are the people with comorbidities. Because of the scarcity of the vaccines relatively in the Philippines, so our government has tried to prioritize groups. Okay, A1 is your medical frontliners, A2 your senior citizens, A3 are the adults with controlled comorbidities with illnesses, A4 are your economic frontliners, A5 will be the indigent population, and maybe after that, individuals 18 years or younger, or the pediatric population. Okay, so any adult 18 to 59 years old with comorbidities like these, chronic respiratory disease means asthma, bronchiectasis, TB, COPD, and emphysema. So they are qualified. So if you have members of your family who have these diseases, so they are qualified to have themselves vaccinated for free, okay? Paid for by our government. Now, if you have a comorbidity, and you have to show proof that you indeed have some kind of illness. So you can either show a medical certificate, your prescription, hospital records, surgical or pathology records. And these are the only diseases that you need to get a medical certificate from your doctors. If you have an autoimmune disease, suffering from cancer or malignancy, transplant recipients who have been undergoing steroid treatment, patients with poor prognosis, and bedridden patients. Okay, so we have been beset with so many requests for medical certificates from our patients who do not need medical clearance or certificates, but we oblige just the same, so that in order that they can be vaccinated. Now, your vaccination can be deferred and rescheduled, okay, if you have these things during your vaccination. If you have kulbaan ka, tachycardia ka, sakay mong blood pressure, so postpone lang for the meantime, okay? Okay, so what about those patients with bleeding disorders, carrying blood thinners? They can still be vaccinated, but again, under monitoring, okay? So again, these people can be vaccinated, but need just to be scheduled, diagnosed for HIV, symptoms of COVID, and if you have been confirmed to be exposed to somebody with COVID-19 for the past 2 weeks, okay? So again, you can still receive the vaccination, but can be rescheduled if you receive convalescent plasma or monoclonal antibodies. This is your tocilizumab that we use in patients with COVID, and been unstable for your comorbidity for the past 3 months. And mind you, there are a lot of patients that we saw in the vaccination venue who had blood pressures above 180 over 200, okay? I just don't know why. What's in the vaccination that makes our blood pressure so high? But they were vaccinated just the same, and then just told to relax. Maybe it's also a blessing in disguise that these individuals who have really high blood pressures were maybe hypertensive in the first place, but were not just diagnosed. So at least because of the vaccination, their blood pressure was discovered, and so that appropriate medications can be prescribed. Okay, so again, these are the people that needs medical certificates. Organ transplants, steroids, and those who are not expected to live beyond 6 months. So we just give the vaccine to another person, more deserving person. Still, we are not vaccinating our kids 18 years below, and those who have been proven to be allergic to the component of the vaccines, your polysorbate or polyethylene glycol, but it's very difficult to prove because we cannot test this before you get your vaccination. But anyway, as I've said, the vaccination venue is equipped and ready to deal allergic reactions during your vaccination process. Okay, so asthma can be given if you have allergic, and still you can still be vaccinated. Okay, those with allergic rhinitis can be also given. These are the people with comorbidities. Okay, people with underlying medical conditions. Allergic rhinitis is very common among your age group, maybe. Okay, maybe also one of the causes of absenteeism. But still, you can still be vaccinated, even if you claim, I'm sorry, I have allergic rhinitis. You can still be vaccinated. Okay, so what to do before vaccination? Okay, just make yourself relax, keep calm while waiting. Okay, don't drink coffee because it can raise your blood pressure. And then you may also have to empty your urinary bladder because you might be waiting in line. Okay, when I had my mother, 91-year-old mother, vaccinated at Robinson's, we waited for almost 3 hours. Okay, before she got her shot. Okay, but it was worth it, really. It was really worth it.
Yes.
Okay, so after vaccination, relax, don't panic. Okay, do your breathing exercises, 3 to 5 minutes, inhale, 4 counts, exhale, 4 counts, okay? We don't want to create a scene after vaccination, okay? So any problems, the venue have doctors, have nurses, and they are also even ready, okay? They have EpiPen, just in case you develop severe reactions, and you can be injected right away, okay? So with that, thank you, and I'm now ready to answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ligo. That's a lot of information that we
Okay.
needed to know, especially right now. So I just have a few questions here. You mentioned earlier when you got your vaccine, you had your antibodies checked, right?
That's it,
And
right?
then you needed like 50.
Yeah.
And then after you got vaccinated with Sinovac, if I'm not mistaken, it was 600.
Yes. What I meant about 50 was the cutoff for a positive response was 50.
Uh-huh. Okay.
If your antibody values rise above 50, that means you have a good response to your vaccination. But mine was 600.
That's
And,
really
and
good.
patients who had COVID-19 infection,
Mm-hmm.
so this is natural immunity, their values can reach up to 10, 20,000.
Oh, okay.
So that's how the body really produces antibodies. Okay.
So I see. So Sinovac, because people when they want to get vaccinated, they want to know what the vaccine is first. Because
Yeah.
we have this notion na they want Pfizer, they want Moderna, but Sinovac is just as good and just as effective.
Yes, yes. The problem with Sinovac is because during its development,
Mm-hmm.
during its trials, the Chinese government was not so open about sharing their data.
Okay.
So it was just maybe a political, not a medical decision. That's why the Western, okay, the Western media, I did not really know about Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccine. Unlike Pfizer and Moderna, where every step of the way, every time they conducted trials, everybody knows. Okay,
They're
it was
very
really like that. But after the rollout of these Chinese vaccines in Brazil, United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines, um, they were the Sinovac vaccine was quite successful. Okay, in Indonesia, for example, there was a report that 300 of their healthcare workers got sick with COVID even after Sinovac vaccination, but they did not account that almost 20,000. Okay, 20,000 of healthcare workers were vaccinated. So you can just compute the percentage. Maybe 300 about only 300 got COVID-19 infection out of the 20,000 vaccinated. So it still has a very good protective effect.
right. Yeah, I would think so because I think it's very effective. I don't for me personally, I don't care which brand it is. As long as
Yes,
you get vaccinated, I think that
right.
would be best for you.
Yes,
Because like
theoretically, Sinovac vaccine uses the whole coronavirus, the whole
right.
virus, while the other vaccines just use a spike protein,
Mhm.
a messenger RNA to direct your body to produce spike proteins, um, viral subunits, just pieces of the virus. But Sinovac really is the whole virus. So I just don't understand why there's so much dislike, if you say,
Mhm.
to Sinovac.
Yeah,
Yes,
you explained earlier that for Sinovac, they're actually using like a dead virus
yes,
so that your body will be more prepared. It's like you're training yourself how to fight that virus when you actually get it, right?
yes, yes. That's how our immune system works. It has a very good memory.
Mm-hmm.
so that once it encounters the real virus, you don't even get symptoms
Right, because you already
because
know.
silently your antibodies will start working.
Right. It's like you're already training. So it's like a boxing match. If you go
Right.
to a boxing and then you're not prepared, you're not trained, of course you're gonna get severely injured. But if you've already
Exactly.
trained for months in advance, then you're prepared and you have a good fighting chance. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you will not
Yes.
get it. It's just that you have a fighting chance, right?
Yes. That's the simplest way of saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So I have other questions here. Are you familiar with the Delta variant? Because they wanted to know why it's more transmittable and where did it originally come from?
Yes. Viruses continuously evolve because they also want to survive. So that's why they mutate so that they will be more adaptable to the host, which is the person. Okay, so that is natural for viruses, just like our body. Our body also from time to time mutates, and that's why we develop cancers, we develop diseases because our cells mutate. So viruses also mutate. Now for the Delta virus, which originated in India, also mutated as far as its spike proteins. Okay, the nomenclature for the actual sites of the spike proteins that mutated is it's very complicated. You have your B1167.3. So this Delta virus mutated so that it is more able to penetrate the human body. Okay, so it's about 3 times more transmissible, okay, than the original COVID-19 virus. So that's why the world now is suffering from this Delta variants. United States, almost 60 to 80% of their infections now are because of the Delta variants. And I'm pretty sure NCR and Cebu, Iloilo, and Cagayan de Oro's latest surge are maybe also caused by your Delta virus because you cannot explain why this sudden, almost exponential rise in the incidence of COVID-19. Yes, this is what we have to be prepared and maybe have to be afraid of the variants developing. We still also have to contend with the Lambda variant. It's also originated in Peru, but no reports yet as far as Lambda present in the Philippines.
I see. And going back to the vaccination, Dr. Ligo, you mentioned there's a specific time frame that you need to get the doses from the first dose to the second dose to make it more effective. So is there a way to know like how long will this vaccination protect us? Like, is there a time frame on when you should get a booster?
Yes, we still really do not know because the world or the medical community is still trying to collect data. But generally, on the average, 9 months. They put it at 9 months as far as the protection of the vaccination is. But they're now already talking about booster doses. In fact, Israel is the first country to really use a booster dose. That's their also political decision to do so. But in our country, we cannot afford a third or a booster dose yet because we have not even given the first or even the second dose to our countrymen. So in the Philippines, booster doses is still far away. But it has some sense of scientifically, we need to remind our immune system because we still do not know whether our body can memorize eternally, okay, COVID-19, because we still do not know really because data is still evolving. But booster doses is quite logical as far as how our immune system works.
Right. That's good because that's one of the questions that we've received. Now, if we already got it, is it good for a lifetime or do you need to get it again? But they're still looking for data about that. Probably still in the research phase.
Right.
All right. So another question, can a recovered or fully vaccinated person still get a COVID-19 virus? Like if you already have it and then you get vaccinated, can you still get it after?
You mean a fully vaccinated person, the probability of getting the disease?
When you already have the disease first
Okay.
and then you got better, then you
Yes.
got the vaccination.
Yes.
Is it still possible for you to get it again?
Yes, it's still possible. Reinfections have happened,
Mhm.
but having you getting the disease, so you have a natural immunity, plus you had a vaccination, which is an adaptive immunity. So your chances of getting the disease is much, much, much lower.
Okay.
Because
And
as I've
if
said, natural immunity induces a very powerful immune response.
mm,
Yes,
so if ever you do get it, it's probably just mild.
yes, yes.
But the problem is that is you can still be a carrier,
Right,
right?
right, right,
Okay. So with that said, even if you're vaccinated, you have your immunity, you still have to do the protocols like wear
right,
your
right.
mask, social
Yes,
distance.
yes.
Um,
That's what even Dr. Fauci, the
mhm.
very famous Dr. Fauci of
Yeah.
the National Institute of Health in the US, that the viral load in the upper respiratory tract of a vaccinated person and a non-vaccinated person is the same.
Mhm.
So that means a vaccinated person and an unvaccinated being exposed to somebody with COVID. So they will have the same viral load in their upper respiratory tract. But the difference is a person who is vaccinated may not even manifest the disease because you already have a ready army of antibodies and T cells to fight the infection compared with a naive, unprotected, unvaccinated person.
Yeah, so it's still not safe. So everyone should still continue the wearing your mask and alcohol, social distancing,
Right,
regardless. And it's even scarier, right? Because if you already vaccinated, you wouldn't know because you don't have symptoms.
right.
So
And then
you're
you
a
can pass it
potential,
on. Yes,
yes, you're a
you can.
potential carrier. I see. Okay.
But don't take it as a disadvantage.
Right. It's just that the thing is we just need to be constantly vigilant, even
Right.
if we have the vaccine already. And another question is, while you have COVID, you're currently positive, is it still advisable for you to get the vaccine during that time or after na?
After you have recovered, yes.
After. I
And
see.
there's no timetable. As soon as you feel okay,
Mhm.
and then have yourself jabbed or vaccinated.
I see. Okay.
But for those who had COVID and then received monoclonal antibody or convalescent plasma, it's usually 90 days before they can get their vaccination.
I see. Okay. And another question about the recovered COVID-19 patients. Is it safe for them to donate blood? And when is it safe?
Yes, yes. That's where convalescent plasma. Uh, in fact, Silliman University Medical Center is doing a study in order to prevent progression of a mild disease to a severe disease by giving them convalescent plasma from people who have already survived COVID. Okay, so a person with COVID, as I said earlier, in one particular patient of mine, when I checked his antibodies, it was 20,000
Mhm.
antibodies. So the titer was very high. So if you also give this to maybe a person suffering from COVID, so it may have a therapeutic or beneficial effect. So this is what convalescent plasma is. The blood of a COVID-19 survivor is laden with antibodies against COVID. So potentially, if you give this also to another person who is still having COVID, then it may have some beneficial effects.
I see. What about in general lang, Doc? Like this person has a family member who needs a blood donation for something else, an operation. Is it okay for them to donate blood? Like
Yes,
not a COVID patient, but just for another disease.
yes, yes. The question is like, can a COVID survivor donate blood for temporary
Yes.
time? Yes.
Okay.
Because
That's
if I am the patient needing blood, I
Mhm.
would welcome even, because I will be protected already also from developing COVID, because I will have antibodies running in my bloodstream.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting a vaccination or
Right.
something. Okay.
Yes. Ready-made
Yes.
antibodies.
All right. And also I want to go back to the list that you mentioned earlier about people that are not allowed to get vaccinated yet, like the children 18 years
Below
old and
18.
below.
Yes. Yes.
How about there was a question here about pregnant women. Are
Yes.
they not allowed to get vaccination, and
No.
will it have effects on the baby that they're
No. No.
carrying?
Yeah. In fact, the Obstetrics and Gynecologists Association in the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
has issued that all pregnant women should have themselves vaccinated.
Oh, they should have
It's safe.
themselves.
It's safe. It's safe
Okay.
with the pregnancy. It's safe also even in lactating mothers.
Mm.
Yes.
Because there's a question there. I was just wondering when I got my vaccine. They're asking if you're pregnant or not. So I was thinking it's a factor.
No, it's not.
It's just a routine question they
Yes.
ask.
Yes.
Okay, I see. All right. So can all right. So I think that's all the questions that we have right now. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ligo. I know you're very busy right
That's
now.
okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We really
I can I
appreciate
can I
it.
can be, called anytime if you have some medical questions.
All right. Oh, and for asthmatic people, you mentioned that they don't need medical certificates,
No.
by the way.
They just show their
I
inhalers,
just remembered.
order their
Ah,
prescriptions.
okay.
Yes. It's
All
very
right.
clear in the Department of Health directive. No need for medical certificates for asthmatic patients. You only have to show that you're an asthmatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That was a last minute question here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ligo. And we
Yeah, yeah.
hope that we can have this talk with you more in the future.
Yeah, it's okay. I may ask a question.
Yes?
Is your background real or
No.
oh,
No, it's not real. It's
it's just
our office in Cebu.
okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
Sure. Okay.
Ligo. You have a good day.
Okay.
Hi guys, thank you for watching and I hope you learned something today. Please watch out for our next videos where we will talk about other health benefits or tips on how you can keep yourself safe. So like and follow us on We Are Sophie in all our social media page for more updates. See you. Bye.